Welcome to another episode of Deconstructing the Home Show with Christopher Gill. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how much money you need to start investing in real estate. And I think the initial assumption is that you have to be a millionaire to start buying properties because real estate's expensive. And let's just dispel that rumor right out of the gate. That's not correct. I am not currently a millionaire and definitely wasn't even close to a millionaire when I started investing in real estate. And I somehow started. So, but there is a number you need to have because real estate is expensive, and even with structuring loans and borrowing money from other people or bringing in investors, you do need to have cash or someone backing you that has liquid cash and availability to help you keep your projects going in a timely manner because time is absolutely money in real estate. So, but there's a couple ways to get started. So the first thing that you can do to start getting your feet wet in real estate investing is basically being what's called a bird dog for other investors. And that essentially means that you go around and help do the marketing and research to help them find and then purchase properties. So you're going to be driving properties, you're going to be talking to owners, you're going to be looking through obituary records, trying to find properties that are deal worthy that you can bring to other investors, and they will simply pay you like a finder's fee for helping them connect them, and then they'll go in and actually complete the deal process of getting the contract put together, closing on the home. So that's obviously no money out of your pocket way to start investing in real estate. The thing about that I think is difficult for a brand new investor is you got to have some sort of a marketing plan or be able to implement a marketing plan that another investor has put together. So you got to be able to follow at least some basic directions if they're giving you the plan, but if you're having to come up with it on your own, then you really need to have a background in marketing or at least some knowledge of how to contact these people and what would be a good follow-up process. The other thing is you already need to have a fairly good idea and well-rounded knowledge of the market that your investors are looking to buy properties in. So if you don't know the area, obviously you're going to have a hard time figuring out if this property is a good deal or not. So, but the benefits are obviously you get to learn about the areas, you get to learn about, the process, you get to watch a seasoned investor purchase properties, and you get to make money all at the same time, and your only costs really are gas, driving around, and then your time that you put into talking to these owners and finding these properties. So that's way number one, to really start with no money down in real estate investing, but you're really not being the investor. Second option is doing what is called wholesaling properties. And this can also be done with very limited money. And basically wholesaling is, instead of just finding the properties and then turning them over to the investor, you actually go through, find the property, secure and purchase the property, and put it under contract with what is called an option period. And this is simply a period that for a very small, usually $50 to $500, and $500 is really high on an option period, you've secured the right to purchase this property for a certain period of time, usually 5 to 10 days, maybe up to 20 days on some options. So you have this right to purchase the property, and then what you do is you go and market the property to other investors with something built in for you. And that can be anything from $500 to several $1,000s. I actually made close to $20,000 one time wholesaling a property that I literally bought, did nothing to, and sold it to another investor and made that money. Now that was an exceptional wholesale deal. Those are few and far between to the max, but they do happen. And so this is another way. But with a wholesaling properties, you have to know, obviously you have to have the marketing plan. You got to know how to go and acquire these properties. You need to understand real estate contracts because you are telling them that you will purchase this property, and you will be in violation of your contract if the contract expires or your option period expires and you are still under contract with the property. So then, as a wholesaler, you will go and you will do what's called an assignment. And that means that you are taking your right to purchase the property and for a fee, giving another investor that right to purchase the property. This is done by huge companies all over the United States. We Buy Ugly Houses, the billboards that you see all over the place, that is a wholesale company, that their entire business model is not centered around actually rehabbing the properties, but finding the deals, putting the deals under contract, and then selling them to an end investor who will go and make a larger amount of money, but you are then, that investor is obviously putting in the time, resources, design work, city, fees, the entire marketing, and then selling the finished product, that's all in their camp. So much longer process, but you make a little tiny piece of that pie. And this is a very viable business model. Again, you need to understand marketing, you need to understand real estate contracts, and then you obviously have to have some capital. I would say at least a couple $1,000s. I mean, you're gonna be putting money into marketing, so factor that in however you want. I know companies that spend, $10,000+ on marketing to acquire wholesale deals. So, you can do this on a small level or you can do this on a very large level. So being a bird dog, helping just find the deals and then turning them over to an investor. Being a wholesaler, finding the deals, putting the deals under contract and then selling that contract to an end investor. And then obviously you can be the actual investor and find the deals yourself or purchase them from another one of these sources. And to do that, I think the number you need to have per property is between $15,000 and $25,000, depending on how good the deal is. And then I would say you'd want to have access to a credit line, a business credit card of at least another $10,000 for initial expenses before you get draws from your hard money lender or your investor to continue the rehab on the property. So $15,000 to $25,000 I think is a very minimum threshold, because you're going to have to pay closing expenses, title work, survey, and then most hard money lenders, and that's usually most likely who you'll be going to, especially when you start out, you will have to complete portions of the rehab on your own dime, and then they will reimburse you for that work. So you will basically purchase the home, and then you on your own dime will put the $5,000 roof on there. They will have an inspector come out, inspect the work, see that's actually been done, and then they will release that amount of your rehab budget to you, and you'll be reimbursed for that. So you really don't want to have just $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 sitting there. That will go just like that, even with closing costs. There are fees obviously you have to pay up front to the hard money lender. So I think 15 to 25 is really the bare minimum. But I hope that's encouraging, because that's not an unattainable amount of money. You could do it on a credit card potentially. That's higher risk, obviously, and you need to make sure that you can move these properties effectively, because the biggest problem with hard money is it's called hard because it's expensive. You are usually paying between 10 and 14% interest monthly on these properties. Not monthly, it's prorated over the year, but you're gonna be paying usually well over $1,000 a month simply in interest. This is not going to the mortgage, this is not paying off the property, this is simply paying the company to let you use their money. So, you're paying 40, 50, 60, $100 per day. So every day you own the property is money that you are wasting, or it's coming out of your budget. What you're gonna make is decreasing daily the longer you hold the property. So you need to have a plan for the rehab if you're using hard money. But that's a great way to start. That's how I started investing. My actual amount was about $15,000 when I started, and I actually purchased a rental property first. Got that cash flowing to a place where that was covering obviously the cost of the mortgage, and I was profiting about $1,200 a month off the property, and then I rolled that money that I had coming in toward doing my first rehab projects. So those are the three basic ways: being a bird dog, helping people find deals, being a wholesaler yourself, and then having at least $15,000 to $25,000 to start actually investing and purchasing your own properties in real estate.